Welcome back, everyone. Bill Moore, Sales Manager for Conger LP Gas, coming back to you again with another Tuesday tidbit. And today we're going to do a menu kind of geared toward Cinco de Mayo, since we're coming into May. Believe it or not, it's already here. So we're going to do a Cinco de Mayo menu today called Carne Asada Fries. So we're going to do some carne asada, which is the steak portion of it, some seasoned French fries later on, and put it together, and that'll be our menu for this week. For today's carne asada loaded fries, what we're going to do is we're going to start out with a flank steak. It's a great piece of meat, but it can be very tough. So what we're going to do is we're going to season it, marinate it for, I would say, a minimum of 4 hours, but you can marinate it overnight if you want to get it ready for the next day. So what I'm going to do today is go ahead and I've gotten this flank steak. It's got a lot of marbling in it, but it's also is a very tough piece of meat unless we cook it a certain way, which we'll do a little bit later on. So what I've done is I've created a marinade, including olive oil, orange juice, some soy sauce, and some lime juice. That's kind of our liquid portion of it. And then I've got a seasoning that I put together that's got paprika, garlic salt. It's got some other herbs and spices. What we'll do is we'll include this recipe on our website, or you can go to the Facebook page and pick it up later, but we'll be able to get it to you. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out with our dry seasoning. Again, like I said, it's got paprika, salt, pepper, some garlic, some other things like that, but we'll have that recipe available for you. Okay, I'm going to season it very well. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to end up putting it on both sides of the meat. We want it really well seasoned, because this is going to grill and we're going to marinate. So you're going to lose some of the marinade, but it'll help penetrate as long as you provide it a really good covering on it. So make sure it's well covered with your dry seasoning. We're going to flip it over. We're going to do both sides. And if there's certain items that you like in yours that you don't have in this, by all means, if you've got a favorite spice rub, use it. But this was just kind of some typical Mexican spice rubs that we're going to use. But again, very simple. Just make sure it's well coated. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to place it in the bowl that we're going to marinate it in. Okay, we're going to put it in here. If you've got a glass dish that's slightly narrower, by all means use that. Then I'm going to pour our liquid marinade over it. I'm going to cover this, put it in the refrigerator. If you've got big Ziploc bags, by all means go ahead and use that. But I'm going to leave it in the refrigerator for at least 4 hours. But if you've got overnight, that would be even better. We'll come back once the meat has marinated. I'll show the other portions of what we're going to put together, and then we'll start the grill and put everything together for a final recipe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some fresh salsa. Everybody can buy it in the jar, but it's just so much better when you make it yourself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start in the blender. I've got some jalapeno that I've cut up. If you don't want it very hot, don't include the jalapeno. If you want it hotter, include the ribs and the seeds. That will make it hotter. I'm going to put everything in the blender and start. I've got a couple of fresh garlic cloves. I've got them peeled and ready to go. I've got about a quarter of a Vidalia onion that I'm going to put inside along with it. We're going to chop all this up before we add our tomatoes. I've got some fresh cilantro, but if you don't like cilantro, don't worry about it. To me, that's all part of your some of your Mexican flavors. I've got a little bit of lime juice, fresh lime juice. Anytime I'm cooking, I try to use fresh when I can. And now with all the fresh vegetables and things coming out from all the farms, it gives you such a much better opportunity. And then I've got a spice blend similar to what I did on our carne asada. It's got salt, pepper, cumin, chili powder, some of those flavors in it. Okay, I'm going to add it. And then I'm going to go ahead and chop this up to start with before I add my tomatoes. So we're going to put this in our blender and just pulse it a little bit until it gets... All you're wanting to do is break up the big pieces. Now I bought some fire roasted tomatoes, diced tomatoes. You can just use regular tomatoes, but these are diced because I like it a little chunky, but not a lot. So I drained off most of the liquid because I don't want it to be overly liquidy. Some of the seasoning we put in is going to draw out a little bit more of the liquid in here. So now we're going to do this. See it coming together. Check it for how chunky you want it or not. That looks good to me. I'll take a little bit out here just so you can kind of see the finished product. But this is, to me, not going to be very spicy, but it got a little bit of texture to it. So that's going to be our salsa. We're going to use that. Of course, you'll have plenty for your chips to go with it, but we're going to put this on our carne asada French fries that we're going to finish up here in just a few minutes. We are now going to get our steak ready for the grill. What I've done, it's been marinating about 12 hours, so we've left it in the refrigerator covered, so it's still cold or cool with your refrigerator. Okay, I'm going to take it out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pat it dry as far as taking off some of the marinade, and I'm going to let it come to room temperature. So that's probably going to take 30 minutes or so. But what that's going to do is, if I took it right now, took it to the grill and put it on there, it will cook fine. But what I want to do is sear it. And if the steak is real damp from the moisture in the marinade, it's going to steam more than it's actually going to sear. And you'll see that once we get it on the grill. We'll be working on our fries here shortly, and it'll all be coming together in the next few minutes. And I'm going to work on the fries for our carne asada fries. Now, if you want to pre-buy, go ahead and buy some pre-done fries. Feel free to go ahead. I just like the idea of making my own fries. Here I can actually control the seasoning a little bit more, and I'm going to use some of the same seasoning that I've got on my carne asada steak. So they're going to blend. So what I've done, I've taken, I think I've got 4 just russet potatoes. I've cleaned them, and all I'm doing is just slicing them into just small 1/4-inch pieces. Then I'm going to end up mixing them into the seasoning mix. We're going to end up baking them in the oven for about 25 minutes at 400 degrees, so that when they come out, and they'll be ready for the finishing touches with the steak and the other sauces. The salsa we made a little bit earlier, that will go with it also. But again, very simple. They're fresher this way. I think you'll really like it if you haven't ever made any fries. Very simple to do, and I think you'll enjoy it. Again, if you've got some older kids, they might can help you with this. Maybe not with the slicing of it, but helping get everything ready. So what we're going to do is, again, I'm going to finish with this right here. We're going to put the seasoning on it. We're going to put them on our baking sheet, get them in the oven. By then, I should be able to go out and work on our steak. Steak's going to take about 20 minutes to cook. These are going to take about 20 to 25 minutes to cook, so they'll come off together. And then we're going to go ahead and get them ready to plate. So again, I've got the fries cut up. This is seasoning mix. It's got olive oil. It's got the same seasoning that I put on my steak a little bit earlier. Got a little bit of cornstarch in it. That's going to kind of give the fries a little bit of crispness to it. But we're going to take these. We're just going to mix them up so we get a good coating on there of the seasoning itself. We're going to put them on a baking sheet, and then we'll be ready to go. All right, we come outside. We're on to be cooking on our Weber grill. I'm going to put the flank steak on. It's a medium-high temperature on our grill. You'll hear it sizzle. What we're going to do is we're going to put it down, and you're going to leave it alone. Don't mess with it. Just let it sit. Medium rare is going to be about 7 minutes. I'm going to flip it. I'm going to leave it on another 7 minutes. Take it off. If you like yours done a little bit more, 8 minutes, 9 minutes, but you really don't want to overcook it. But we're going to go ahead and let these stay about 7 minutes, and then we're going to flip it. All right, the steaks have been on about 15, 16 minutes, so they should be about medium rare. I'm going to take them off the grill, bring them inside. We're going to let them rest about 10 minutes and get them ready. Our fries should be ready and out of the oven. So we're going to put everything together and we'll show you a finished product. Okay, we're back inside now. We're back in the test kitchen, and I've already got the fries plated. They came out after about 20 or 25 minutes. Got the steaks. They've been resting about 10 minutes, and then we've got our condiments. We've got our salsa that we made earlier, and this is kind of calling it an avocado crema. All it is, it's 4 avocados, 1 cup of sour cream, half a cup of mayonnaise, a little bit of the seasoning that you put in here, and all I did was took the blender till it was smooth, and we're going to put it on top. So I'm getting ready to cut the steaks. Cut them on the what we call the bias, or across the grain. The grain is running this way, so it's going to be more tender if you cut it like this. And this should be coming out, it's about medium rare. So that was about 7 minutes per side at about 350 degrees on the grill. So we're going to take this, we're going to spread that out over our fries. This could be a great appetizer. This could be a meal. But I think it's a great addition for your party that if you want to have for Cinco de Mayo. It's a great weekend dish because it does. I mean, it takes a little bit of time if you don't mind it, especially if you count the marinade. Then it's, it's going to take you the better part of a day. But if you want to start the marinade in the morning, put everything else together in the afternoon, would come together very nicely. Again, so we're doing the steak and potatoes. Put that on there. Okay, we're going to take some of our salsa, spread it across. And you'll have plenty for chips to go along with this if you want to do that. Again, this is not very spicy. I don't think you'll even taste the jalapeno that we put in it. Come back in with the avocado crema. Put it on. And guys, this is going to be our Cinco de Mayo meal. Thanks again for watching, and tune in next week for our Tuesday tidbit.